Almost 82% of homebuyers have regrets after buying a house. That's a heck of a lot of homebuyers experiencing buyer's remorse. Yikes! Could you avoid that? Actually, yes, you probably could. One of the biggest regrets for homeowners is underestimating how expensive home maintenance and other hidden costs are. Another common regret is just choosing a home in a bad location. Look, buying a home can involve a lot of frustration, uncertainty, and stress, even more so if you are buying a home in an area that you are not familiar with. Today, I'm going to cover 10 types of homes that you should not buy, or at least definitely think twice about if you're moving to Iowa, and honestly, probably a lot of other areas too. I hope you find some real nuggets of wisdom in this video to pop into your pocket so you can pull them out the next time you're home shopping. You're gonna save yourself time, money, and heartache in the long run. If you have any comments or questions, drop me a comment down below in the comment section. Let's talk about it. Agree with me, disagree with me, whatever. Let me know what you think. Hi, Emily Farber here, your favorite Iowa YouTubing realtor. I sell a lot of real estate and I make content all about Iowa and real estate. So if that sounds interesting to you, hit that red subscribe button and follow along. First on our list are homes without a basement. I'm talking homes either built on a slab or with a crawl space. You might be moving to Iowa from a different area of the country where not having a basement it's pretty normal. But I am telling you that here in Iowa, it's weird to not have a basement. First off, having a basement, either finished or unfinished space, is super important when it comes to storm safety. A basement is typically the safest place to be in extreme weather situations like severe thunderstorms or tornadoes because it puts earth and cement walls between you and whatever is going on outside. Also, it usually gets you away from your windows, which can break in a storm and send flying glass around, which could cut you and seriously injure you. Basements are also important for storing your junk, which you're going to find out you don't want to have that junk in your garage if you actually want to park your car in there during the winter, which you are definitely going to want to do once you find out how unfun it is to clear snow and ice off your car every morning. Second on our list are homes that share boundary lines with something negative, like a busy road, a railroad track, an electrical substation, an apartment complex, etc., etc. You may find the price of these properties to be attractive, especially if you're a first-time buyer and you are pinching every penny. But trust me, they are priced that way for a reason. You may think whatever the negative neighbor is not that big of a deal to you, but it may become a big deal to you down the road, and it certainly will be a big deal to many buyers. The very buyers you are going to need to consider when it's your turn to sell the property. It's always important to consider future saleability when you are making home buying decisions. Ultimately, you gotta do what you gotta do for your particular situation, needs, and budget, but just know that if your neighbor's with something that's negative, it's going to put a damper on your future sales price and is probably going to make the selling process harder down the road for you to find that buyer. Number 3, the next type of home to avoid are those that require flood insurance. If you are financing your home purchase with a mortgage, the lender will need something called a flood determination and certification, which is a document provided by a third-party vendor verifying if a property is in a flood zone or not, which will determine if your lender is going to require you to hold flood insurance or not. The lender has a say in this because they have a financial interest in your property that they're lending you money to buy. It's not only areas near oceans and rivers that fall within flood zones. Sometimes it's areas near little unassuming creeks and other low-lying spots that fall within flood zones. Flood insurance is expensive. It's often about an additional $200 a month on top of your homeowner's insurance. And with the way homeowners insurance premiums are increasing, it is an expense that you probably just don't want to have. Properties requiring flood insurance are also viewed with a negative stigma by buyers. So again, you need to think down the road to when you are trying to sell the property. The fact that your house requires flood insurance while a neighboring house just a few blocks away doesn't is going to be a big hurdle for you to overcome when you are pricing your property against comparables. If you want to be extra cautious about this and not try to rely on your agent for knowing which areas fall within flood zones, or rely on the seller to mention it in their listing description before you fall in love with the house, you can double check addresses on FEMA's website. Just Google FEMA Flood Map Service Center search by address into Google, and you'll pull up the official map where you enter in the address and it creates a map for you. You can look at the different flood zones in relation to the property you're considering. You're going to see different kinds of flood zones, like the 100-year flood zone and the 500-year flood zone. Those are just statistical numbers which indicate the probability of that area flooding once in 100 years or once in 500 years. I wouldn't necessarily put a lot of stock in those numbers. Weather is getting more and more extreme, and it seems like these type of events are happening more and more often. Speaking of moving to Iowa, I'm a realtor in Iowa, specifically the Iowa City area. If you're thinking about making a move to Iowa, reach out to me. I would love to help. If you're looking somewhere else in Iowa or even another state, keep me in mind. I am connected to a lot of real estate agents all over the country, and I may be able to connect you with a great agent in the area where you're looking to move. My contact information is down in the description box of this video. Alrighty, next up are homes with yards that have very steep slopes, with an extra side eye given to homes with negative slopes. A negative slope means that the ground is coming down towards your home. Hello, all the water in the neighborhood is going to be heading straight towards your yard and your basement. Yes, I know, I hear you. The house has a sump pump, right? That's great until that sump pump doesn't work for whatever reason, and you find yourself with a basement full of water. You're ripping out your carpet, the carpet pad, you're cutting off your drywall, and you are drying out the space. It's no fun, it's expensive, and it's a hit to your homeowner's insurance that might cause them to drop you. All in all, it's just a big mess and a stressful hassle. If that isn't enough to give you pause about that steep yard, some other factors to consider are your steep driveway and how challenging it will be to keep clear of snow and ice in the winter. Bonus points if you pay attention to the direction that the driveway is facing. If that driveway is on the north side of your house, the sun is never going to help melt it. Number 5. Let's talk about new construction from bargain basement builders. There are some national builders out there that are just slapping up absolute junk. The cheapest of the cheap materials. You know what? Anything can look good for a hot minute. Well, maybe not good, but decent for the first year or two. But after that, good luck. The cheapest, fastest working framing crew this side of the Mississippi, grading work that looks like it was done by a drunk dude, bottom rung mechanical equipment, cheap siding, cheap flooring, chintzy thin quartz countertops, cheap chrome faucets that look like they came out of some scummy apartment from 1988, trim that was cut by somebody who can't use a miter saw, inadequate lighting. Just no, don't fall for it. Do not be blinded by the fact that it's new and in whatever the current trendy color palette happens to be. I would rather buy a 1980s brass and honey oak palace and spend the next 2 years of my life updating that than buy some bottom rung new construction house. Another type of house that I would be very hesitant to jump on buying is a home with an old roof. Roofs are becoming quite the hot button when it comes to homeowners insurance. Some homeowners insurance companies, they won't insure you if you have a house with an old roof, or they will provide coverage with a serious exception. It's called an ACV, or actual cash value basis, which means, let's say your roof is 15 years old and something happens, a bad hailstorm or whatever. The estimate to replace your roof is $20,000, but the insurance company is estimating that you only have about 5 years of lifespan left on your roof, on that 20-year roof. I mean, 20 years is a pretty good run on a roof in the Midwest, where our weather is rough on them. You will probably be sorely disappointed to find out that your homeowner's insurance is only going to give your roof with 5 years left on it a value of $5,000, leaving you with a bill of $15,000 to replace that roof that was damaged in a storm. If you do have your heart set on a home with an older roof, you definitely need to plan for its not so distant replacement. Maybe you can negotiate a lower price with the sellers, or you can get cash back from the sellers at closing to help offset the replacement that you're going to have to do. If you do find a house with a newer roof, that's awesome. But you also need to try your hardest to get a copy of the receipt from when that roof was put on, because chances are your insurance company will ask for it. Insurance companies want proof. Number 7, another type of house I would never buy is one that is in the path of a T intersection. You're going to have headlights flashing through your windows at night, and it's going to be a pain in the rear end to back out of your driveway because you've got extra paths of travel to keep track of. And it puts your house at risk of being involved in a freak accident. Somebody could just blow right through a stop sign and put their car through your front wall. It happens. Number 8, another type of property I would never buy if I had certain desires for what I wanted to do with my home is a property in a HOA. Look, if you want to have your choice in house color, the type of fence you want to put up in your backyard, the ability to park a camper or a boat along the side of your house, the option of having a backyard flock of chickens, or you want to keep bees, well, then you should be very cautious about buying a house in a HOA. At the very least, you need to write a contingency into your offer to allow you time to review all of the HOA's rules and regulations to make sure they are rules you can live with. And if you can't, then you need to be able to get out of the deal before you get too far into it. Number 9, homes close to schools. I know you're probably thinking, what? If you buy a home close to a school, you're going to be dealing with a lot of traffic. For elementary schools, this means those dreaded drop-off and pickup lines and people parking in front of your house when the school lot fills up. For high schools, this means a lot of traffic and a lot of teenage drivers rip-rodding around. Trust me, I know, I live with 4 of them. And their driving, when they think there are no parental units watching, can be pretty obnoxious and dangerous. There's also going to be noise, school bells, school intercoms, sports events. There will also be a lot of foot traffic, which brings its own set of issues. People might be cutting through your yard, just general mischief to your property, litter, kids sneaking off of school property to smoke, stuff like that. Number 10, the final kind of home that I wouldn't buy on my list are homes with bad smells. Those smells are big red flags. Musty smells can indicate water damage, leaks, and mold. Homes with strong pet odors can be incredibly difficult to mitigate. Cat urine is the worst. You might end up ripping out all of your flooring and trim in an effort to get to the bottom of those pet smells. Likewise, homes with strong smoke smells. Cigarette smoke coats everything, and over time, you're going to be looking at replacing carpets, painting top to bottom, and using harsh cleaners on everything else. Homes with overpowering artificial scents are usually trying to cover something up. They make me highly suspicious, and I just want to turn around and walk out. Another odor that people often don't think of are homes with strong cooking odors, like a heavy oily smell or curry. That can really seep into things. You're probably going to have to paint everything to get rid of it, maybe even the insides of your kitchen cabinetry. Now, there's a saying that goes, with enough time and enough money, anything can be fixed. The question is, my friends, is that going to be your time and your money used fixing it? I always recommend home inspections to my buyer clients, and don't be afraid to pay extra to get specialists in there. If you think you need it, like a roofer, an HVAC technician, a sewer scope, a foundation specialist. Yes, you might be spending money on a house that you ultimately decide to walk away from, but I can promise you that that money is going to be a drop in the bucket to what you would be spending if you end up with a money pit of a house. I would love to hear your thoughts on the type of homes that should be a big no for buyers. Tell me about it down in the comments. Hey, it's been fun, and I'll catch you later.